A theory can be proved by experiments, but no path leads from experiment to the birth of a theory. Hey there, welcome to our 5-minute podcast summary with one quote, 3 ideas, and 1 question from an episode. This episode covers the best ideas from the Jordan B.Peterson podcast with Richard Tremblay. We explore how physical aggression is more nature than nurture. We should have free daycare, and the difference between girls' and boys' aggression. The ideas in this episode are from Richard Tremblay, who's a child psychologist and professor of pediatrics, psychiatry, and psychology at the University of Montreal, where he holds the Canada Research Chair in Child Development. He also worked with Jordan Peterson over 20 years ago on some research projects. Now let's dive into the key ideas. The first idea comes at 16 minutes, where Richard says, "In the state of nature, life would be nasty, brutal, and short. It's only through socialization that we've turned civilized. The idea that it's our environment that brings out physical aggression isn't true. Rather, in many studies, some children, as soon as they're born, already start showing signs of physical aggression. From a Darwinian perspective, this makes sense, as we're animals that were born for survival. But in our modern-day society, as we mature, we become less and less physically aggressive." The second idea comes around 54 minutes, where Richard says, "It's amazing that we aren't providing free daycare and childcare like we do for school. Children are at their best in terms of learning in the earlier years of development. The cost-benefit analysis of this to society has been shown as one of the highest possible return on investments, as better developed children will have compounding and multi-generational effects." The third and final idea comes at 1 hour and 53 minutes, where Richard says, "Girls use more indirect aggression, while boys use more physical aggression compared to girls. From a biological perspective, this makes sense, as girls are less able to win physical fights than boys. Indirect aggression often comes in the form of damaging one's reputation through bad-mouthing someone behind their back, while physical aggression is a form of fighting and intimidation. A question that we think is worth reflecting on after listening to this episode is, can you think of ways your aggression has changed as you've matured? So, those are some of the best ideas from the episode. Some of the other topics covered include the impact of a mother's decision during pregnancy on babies, the intergenerational impact of parenting on genes, and why this kind of research is so hard and difficult to fund. We hope you've learned and been inspired by our podcast episode summary. We've got summaries of other podcasts, like Hidden Brain, Making Sense with Sam Harris, On Being with Krista Tippett, and more. Check out the link in the description if you're in Apple Podcasts, or search for podcast summaries on any other podcasting app. We've also got the original episode link in the description. Thanks for listening. Please subscribe and share if you want future episode summaries.